Hey Katie, thanks so much for joining me today. I appreciate you being
Hi.
on.
Yeah, it's great to see you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's wonderful to have you, of course, anytime. So if you don't mind, we're just gonna jump right in and kind of give the viewers, some insight into what Journey to Joy is like and the experience that you had with it.
Sure.
Okay. So, what would you say, your number one thing was that you were seeking help with whenever you came to Journey to Joy?
So the biggest struggle that I was having was rage issues. And I stay at home a lot with my kids, and I knew it was affecting them, but it was affecting me. It was affecting everybody in the household. Um, and so that was my main concern, um, being somebody that has PMDD. Um, and wanting to not have that,
Hmm.
um, mostly because of my children being young. Um, and so that was my biggest reason for seeking out help from you, was the rage issue that I was having.
Hmm. And so, what did you try? What had you tried before that?
Um, well, I had done a lot of different things. I done a lot of diet changes, supplements, um, some hormone therapy, chiropractic care, massage.
Mhm.
um, those were like the big things that I was doing. And then I had seen a provider, and they had made the recommendation of possibly going on an SSRI, which I had had previous history with, and it didn't go well. And so that just kind of was like, this is not the road that I want to go down again. Um, and so um, I knew something else could probably help. Um, and I'd heard good things about the program. Um, and I've had experience with hypnosis in the past. And I said, maybe this is something I need to explore and go deeper in that's causing all of this.
Right.
Um, so those were some of the things that I had done prior to seeing you for this issue. Um, that just wasn't going away. It
Right.
seemed no matter what I did. So,
How long do you feel like you were dealing with that rage?
um, well, probably several months. Um, but it took me a few weeks to kind of recognize, oh, this is my PMD coming, you know, accelerating here.
Hmm.
That's what it is. And so for years and years, it was something else when I was younger. And so now that I knew what I was dealing with and understanding it, that was definitely helpful. Um, but the fact that I was eating so well with, very nutritious recipes and food, and doing supplements and some hormone supplementation, it just didn't seem right that this was getting worse rather than better.
Right.
So, yeah.
And so, then what was your experience with Journey to Joy as far as the help you had?
Well, the whole process, um, from when I walked in to sought to see you, and then through the revisiting of it with the recording at night, um, was a lot more amazing than I expected. Um, the actual visit brought on a lot of stuff from my past, I think, that needed to be processed.
Mhm.
Um, and I needed to be validated through some things. Um, it was extremely relaxing, though. So I didn't feel like the trauma was affecting me or anything during it,
Mhm.
which was really amazing. Because, you worry about stuff like that as you revisit things from the past. Um, and then, I think one of the things that I really actually enjoyed was getting to revisit the session via the recording. And I did that consistently as you had recommended. Um, because I knew that would be key
Mhm.
in helping me. So,
Yeah.
but the experience was actually very calming. It was very relaxing, and I felt really supported emotionally during all of it, and safe, really safe during all of it too. So,
Wonderful. Yeah, I mean, that's something I think that anybody that's going to be going through this sort of thing wants to know that they're going to feel that safety, and it's a huge part of what I focus on as well.
absolutely.
How much do you feel like just that first session, whenever you walked out of there, you felt change?
I felt like, well, I felt really great leaving that session.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I felt renewed, and I had timed it so that I could not have a lot going on right after it
Mm-hmm.
for that day. And then once I got the recording, which was a quick turnaround, I listened to that every night. Um, and it was so relaxing. But I feel like things, usually the time when I would have that rage issue was a certain time in my cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time I had my next cycle, I wasn't having that, and I haven't had it since then.
Wow.
And it's been such a gift. It wasn't, yeah, I haven't had those episodes like what I was having that were scaring the people that I was around, and at times scaring myself. Um, and so it was really powerful.
Wow. So it's
Yeah.
been probably, I don't know, 8 months or so since that,
Yep.
and you've still been seeing those changes, so that's
Yeah.
really exciting.
And I actually recently had some blood work done, not on any more hormone medication supplements, and they don't feel a need for that now either, which is great.
Yeah,
So yay.
that's that's awesome.
Um, so yeah, I mean that was the thing that was, the rage, it was an issue. Um, but since my session with you, and I can't believe it's been that long ago, time flies. Um, it has not returned. It
Wow.
hasn't returned. So
So I'm
I'm
sure
very
other people are
grateful.
seeing that then, right?
Yeah. And I mean, it's it was one session, and but I have to say, listening to the recording and being consistent with it, I think was helpful for me too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what other things do you feel like you've seen it sort of start affecting then whenever you've, gone through it and been out of it this long, that rage being gone and the stuff that is happening in your family, you're seeing like your kids, your husband.
Yep. So I feel like relationships between them have gotten a lot easier. I feel like I can communicate actually a little better and more effectively. And I can kind of see how what kind of communication each one needs based on, like, what they need to, and how best to communicate with them. Because each of my kids are different.
Mm-hmm.
And they have their own love languages and ways of communicating. And I feel like I'm not like blocked from that, almost in a way. Um, I don't, one thing with the rage was I didn't want to be touched. I didn't want people, I didn't want them close to me.
Mm-hmm.
And kids like to be close to their mom. They like to touch their mom. And that's not been an issue. I don't get upset at them for that. Um, and they need that from their mom.
Yeah.
So,
What
yeah.
about the relationship with your husband?
Um, Definitely much better. I feel like communication is better. Um, yeah,
That's huge.
definitely healthier all around.
Wow.
Physically, emotionally, um, yeah.
Wow. And so, what would you say to someone who, is a little bit skeptical as far as, hypnosis goes and what that means and how they'll feel?
Yeah, I think a lot of people have kind of like this mindset of hypnosis, like they see with like stage hypnosis, which
Mhm.
isn't really real hypnosis. Um, because my understanding now is that hypnosis is all self-hypnosis,
Mhm.
um, and you're just kind of the voice, guiding my subconscious, um, and going through the process. So I don't think it's anything to fear. I find it extremely relaxing, and very effective, for change. Our subconscious mind hold on to a lot. It can hold on to a lot of trauma and hurt.
Yeah.
And if those things have never been addressed or talked about, hypnosis can be a great way, to attend to them, in a safe, um, way, a
Yeah.
safe, relaxing way.
And so, did you feel like, you were in control of yourself the entire time?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes,
You knew
absolutely.
what
I
was
never
there.
felt like somebody was taking over. Um, the things that were coming up from my subconscious, were actual experiences, but I never felt out of control
Mhm.
from those. In fact, I felt in control of changing the emotions around that
Wow.
when I was experiencing during the session.
Mhm.
So,
Wow. And so, for somebody who's kind of like, I don't see how this could, take care of a lifetime of issues in such a quick, turnaround, what would you say to them?
I say it absolutely can. Yeah, absolutely can. Um, and if it's something that you desire and want, then yes, it can absolutely work for you. Um, and I didn't have any really great fears going into it. Um, I think when you find somebody like I felt like I could be safe, and respected through it. And I think that's important, for sure. But I mean, the turnaround time, I had no idea that it was going to be that quick and effective. Um, I'd never had, hypnosis done in such a way where it was like that.
Right.
There was actually usually a lot of repetition, revisiting, and I haven't felt the need for that
Hmm.
since our session.
Yeah.
So,
So that's why I love combining energy with what I do, because to
yeah,
me, it tends to make it that much quicker and
yeah,
the experience, just so much more effective as well.
yeah.
So if somebody's sort of on the fence and they're thinking, oh, I don't know if this could work for me, what would you say?
Um, it absolutely can work for you. Um, and I mean, I feel like, well, I don't know. I do know other people who've gone through some of this and they have similar experience as well. I don't know anybody that's come out of doing something like this and it hasn't been, which is great. Um, Certainly there's an investment into it, but it's totally worth it. Absolutely worth it. And I didn't find that it was extremely time consuming. I just had to listen, to the recording,
Hmm.
and it was very calming and relaxing to do that. And I did it at nighttime and I loved it. I
Yeah.
absolutely loved it. It was such a great way to drift off to go into sleep. Um, but we have to take those investments sometimes for our health,
Hmm.
um, especially when it's affecting loved ones around us.
Yeah.
And so I think it's definitely worth it. Um, and, I wouldn't be afraid of doing it. Um, and I feel better equipped, if in the future, if my kids experience trauma or if I experience trauma again, um, how to really help deal with that, and having something like this to go to.
Absolutely.
So I highly recommend it, especially if you have stuff and you just haven't been able to pinpoint it, or you're doing things, um, and it's not really giving you any solution or change or anything like that. I mean, that was the big thing for me, is I was trying these things because I have a medical background, and so I'm going the medical route and doing the different nutrition things, and I was just like, maybe there's something deeper I need to heal from.
Right.
Um, and it did that for me, and I'm just so thankful for it.
Awesome. Well, I'm so thankful to have been part of your healing journey because just seeing you, the changes that it created for you has been a gift to me. So thank you
Well,
for
thank you
being
so
part of
much.
it. Absolutely. So I'm guessing my next question is, would you recommend it to other people?
Absolutely. My provider that I see now, since we moved, I actually told her about the process and about my rage and how it's not been back. And so I kind of had to explain to her what it was that I had actually done, because she wasn't quite sure what it meant. And she's
Yeah.
like, well, that's really fascinating. And I said, it really is. It really is. And I feel like you don't realize how much some of our experiences can affect our health and our minds over time. So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, definitely recommend it.
Oh, that's wonderful. So, is there anything else that you would want somebody to know, kind of thinking about going into the program?
Um, I mean, my thing would be, you're amazing. So I would hope they
Thank you.
definitely should feel safe with you. They shouldn't have any fears. Um, and I felt like I could trust you, and you were so kind with your words and so calm and relaxing. Um, and so I would say the best thing is to not go in with fear, because really I think the process, the way it was for me, is you feel so safe. None of that kind of comes up.
Mhm.
I don't remember feeling anything in my body where I'm like, my heart's really pounding, or, I feel all this pressure or tension or anxiety. I didn't feel any of that as I was revisiting these things. And I think a lot of people will have that concern, and that's understandable. But having experienced it with you, definitely not something that I would worry about, and would definitely help, um, you know, knowing that, I think, going into it. So,
Absolutely. And so, did you find it more that you were observing those past experiences, you weren't reliving them?
yes.
Yeah, and I think that
Yep.
makes a big difference in how you're processing
Absolutely.
it.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I felt like, I remember in one of the scenes, I was in a room as a little girl, and I can see myself. I'm looking on to myself.
Yeah.
So
And so, what do you feel like, having healed this rage and then all the other little things that were kind of connected to that, it has enabled you to do in life that maybe you were holding yourself back from?
I think it has helped me to be more loving as a mom, to better communicate as a mom. It's helped me be loving and more affectionate with my husband. Um, but it's also helped me to also be like, this is too much.
Hmm.
I need some help. And being able to voice that better too,
Hmm.
um, was really helpful as well. Um, and so I think that's, the biggest change. And that, I came in with the worry that this was affecting my family,
Yeah.
right? But it was also affecting myself. And so just being able to be honest with myself and my emotions, and then being able to communicate that, but meeting the needs of the other people in my family that I'm close to.
Mhm.
Um, yeah.
And so, creating healthier boundaries, it sounds
Yes.
like, is a
Yeah.
big one. Hmm.
Yes.
Wow, that's awesome. So, is there anything else that you would want somebody to know or that you think would have been helpful for you? Just surrounding the whole energy aspect, the, hypnosis aspect, just to make it a little bit easier, because I think it's hard for people to necessarily comprehend what that means.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of misconceptions. Um, and I feel like, to be honest with you, the whole experience when I saw you, it felt like just a really nice, deep relaxation is what it felt like.
Mm-hmm.
Take hypnosis and energy out of it. That's what it was for me,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, but those are the names of the things that you use to get us in that relaxation, right?
Right.
We just don't know that it's necessarily happening, I guess
Exactly.
you could say.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and that's exactly how it should be. You just
yeah,
relaxing and then allowing the therapies to work for you, and you not having to feel like you have to control it in any way, because it's just natural as well.
yeah, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your experience. I
Oh,
appreciate
you're
it.
welcome. Thank you for everything you've done.
Absolutely.
It
It's been
really is amazing.
well, I look forward to seeing you and talking to you soon, and thanks so much for being on today.
You're welcome.